So in the previous video, I showed you that you can do estimations by just changing the numbers to things that are more convenient or to one significant figure. And now we're going to do an exam style question on this. So it says here, Jack drives to and from work 37 weeks per year, 5 days per week. The distance from his home to work is 28.3 miles. Estimate, and that's that really important word that we've got there, the total number of miles that Jack drives to and from work in 1 year. Is your answer an under or overestimate? Give a reason for your answer. Okay, so let's go through some of the numbers and let's do a little bit of rounding here. So instead of saying 37 weeks per year, let's round that to 40. I'm quite happy doing 5 days per week. I don't think we would round that to anything, so we're going to keep that the same. And the distance from his home to work is 28.3 miles. I'm going to round that to one significant figure, so I'm going to say that it is 30 miles. So let's have a think about how much he is driving in 1 day to and from work. So in 1 day, he is going to drive 30 miles to work and he's going to drive 30 miles back. So he is going to be doing 60 miles per day. Now what I'm going to do is find out how far he drives in 1 week. So he's going to do 60 miles in 1 day and he's doing that for 5 days per week. So that's going to be 60 multiplied by 5. I can do the 6 times the 5, which is 30, and then add on that extra 0 from the 60. So that is 300 miles per week. And now what I'm going to do is 1 year. And we know that he is driving to and from work 40 weeks. Well, 37, but we've rounded it to 40. So he's doing 300 miles per week, and he's doing that for 40 weeks. So we multiply them. We do the 3 times the 4 to get the 12, and then there are 3 extra zeros. So it looks like it's going to be 12,000 miles per year. So it said, estimate the total number of miles he drives to and from work in 1 year. I think our answer is going to be 12,000. Now we need to decide whether this is going to be an underestimate or an overestimate. Have a think to yourself whether it's going to have been, this number is too big or is it too small? So it's actually going to be an overestimate. It's going to be too big because we've said he's going for 40 weeks and he's doing 30 miles rather than 28.3. So our answer is an overestimate. Our answer is an overestimate. And the reason, because it does say give a reason for your answer, our answer is an overestimate because we rounded the values up. Now, if you want to know what the true answer would be, it is 28.3 times 2, because he's going back and forth. He's doing that 5 days a week, so I'm timesing by 5, and he's doing that 37 weeks per year. So the real answer is 10,471, but we've estimated 12,000. So it's pretty close. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's not 120,000 and it's not 2,000, so it's in roughly the right ballpark. Okay, the next question that we've got here, it says use estimation to calculate if there are more seconds in a day than there are people in the UK. And I've given us a bit of a clue here about how many people are in the UK. So we're going to try and calculate the number of seconds in a day. Well, first of all, let's just write down the number of seconds in a minute. The number of seconds in a minute is going to be 60. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work out the number of seconds that there are in an hour. Well, there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, and there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So we do the 6 times the 6 to get the 36, and then add on the 2 zeros. Now, I can round this, because I'm doing an estimation question, I can round this to 4,000. So there are 4,000 seconds in an hour, roughly. Now, after hour, the next unit of time that we're going to have is a day. In a day, there's going to be 24. So I'm going to do 4,000. Instead of multiplying it by 24, I could round it to 4,000 multiplied by 20. Yeah, we're not saying that there are 24 hours in a day, but let's just times it by 20 because that's easier. So the 4 times 2 is the 8. 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So we've got 80,000 seconds in a day. Now we're going to do our last part, which is the number of seconds in a year. So we're going to take the number of seconds per day, which is 80,000, and we would want to multiply that by 365. But again, I want to round the 365 to make it easier. So I'm going to do the 80,000 multiplied by, instead of 365, I'm going to multiply it by 400. And the 8 times the 4 is 32. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like that there are roughly 32 million seconds. Oh, I've done it in a day. I should have actually done it in a year. I've changed this. So I went too far. I'm going to change this question. I'm going to change it on the original one. It's how many seconds there are in a year to people in the UK. Otherwise, I would have stopped here, wouldn't I? I hope you noticed that I went a bit too far and said how many seconds in a year. But we are going to say that in a year, there are 32 million seconds in a year. And there is 67.22 million. 67.22 million is 67,220,000. 67,227,000 people in the UK. So there are more seconds in a year. No, there are more people in the UK. So there are more people in the UK than seconds per year. Sorry for having that written wrong. It should say year, but I'm going to change it on the original one. If we want to see what the actual calculation is, it would be the number of seconds in a minute times the number of seconds in a minutes in an hour, hours in a day, and then days in a year. So the true answer is 31,536,000, and that's pretty close to 32 million. So I want you to have a go at this question, so you can pause the video here and have a go. It says a factory produces 21,250 bolts per hour. Read that question and have a go. I'm going to go through this question now. So a factory produces 21,250 bolts per hour. 480 bolts are placed into each box. The factory machines run for 8 hours each day. Estimate the number of boxes filled in one day. Is your answer an under or overestimate, and give a reason for your answer. So first of all, I'm going to go through all the numbers because of the fact it's an estimation question, and I'm going to make them nicer numbers. So this 21,250, I'm going to just round it nicely to 20,000 bolts per hour. And instead of doing 480 bolts, I'm going to round that to one significant figure to just 500 bolts being placed into each box. And the factory machines run for 8 hours each day. Okay, so let's find out how many bolts there are per day. Well, there's going to be 20,000 per hour for 8 hours per day. So I'm going to do the 2 times the 8, which is 16, and I'll add on those 4 zeros. So that's 160,000 bolts per day. And we're going to now find out how many boxes are going to be filled. So to find out the number of boxes filled, I want to calculate 160,000 divided by 500. And I like to do my divisions as a fraction, and you'll see why, because I can spot some nicer cancelling. So I want to do 160,000 divided by 500. Now there's loads of ways of doing this one, but I can cancel out these 2 zeros with these ones here. So I'm actually trying to calculate 1,600 divided by 5. You can either divide it by 10 and double it. I guess you could even do this kind of method like this. I'll do this division method. So 5 goes into 16 3 times remainder 1, 5 goes into 10 twice, and 5 goes into 0, 0. So it looks like we are going to be filling 320 boxes per day. Now, is our answer an underestimate or an overestimate? Well, we reduced this number so that we said that there were going to be less bolts produced. So this one here is definitely going to be an underestimate, because we rounded down. But what about the fact that we took this 500 here and we rounded that up? Well, if we are dividing by a bigger number, we're actually making the overall answer smaller. So because we are dividing by a bigger number, we are again underestimating. If you think about that if we're saying you're only going to put 480 in a box, and now we're saying we're putting 500 in, we're actually going to be underestimating the number, because we're going to have, each time we fill a box, would have 20 extra ones lying around. So the answer to this question is it is an underestimate because we rounded this down, and it's also an underestimate because we rounded the denominator up. We're dividing by a bigger number. So that's pretty much everything you need to know for estimations. It is a very, very short topic, but you can change the numbers just to make your calculations nice and neat and to give you some good answers. Found this video helpful? Then why not drop it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. This is the end of the playlist, but head to my channel's homepage to see what else I might be able to help you with. And as always, wishing you the very best for all your studies.